Here we are, Dean. Back in the saddle, as it were. Are you there? Or are you just looking to see if you're live first because you want to check first?
Go ahead and get started in a sec.
I think we're live. At least I'm live. Dean, can you hear us? Hello. No, we lost Dean. That's a great way to start the show. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the FiveStack. Look who we have here. Lev Parnas is here. Jacob Karsbo is here. Dean Blundell was here briefly. He'll be back in just a few seconds as we begin our first ever year ender. I was going to call it the year bender because that's what it feels like. But gentlemen, it's good to have you back with us. Let's get Dean back in the picture here. There he is. What a great way to start. You ditched us right away.
That's because I couldn't hear you. Oh, well, you couldn't hear me. I couldn't hear you. It's a problem that we have every day. Hi, guys. Welcome to the Year in Review. It's the Year in Review. Let's bring a little spice to the table. Let's have some fun today because we had a very, 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 by all accounts, and I did a whole intro for this. We had a very fucked up year.
Yeah, that's accurate.
that was pretty accurate.
I'll
Everyone
agree.
in agreement.
Yeah. It's like this 2025 was, for what we do, all four of us, the most fucked up year of my life, without question.
I agree.
But it's been entertaining.
I can't say it would be the most my life. I mean, I went through some fucked up shit. but I will
I'm totally sorry. I forgot we had a guy in solitary confinement.
That would be more fucked up for sure.
But I will say definitely it's been a year for the history books and something that I think something that we're gonna be spoken about, just like we speak about what happened during Washington, the Great Revolution. This is something that's going to be talked about in history 100 years from now, 200 years from now. I don't know when or if we will ever see something like that in the United States again, because this is the first time we're seeing pure authoritarianism, dictatorship that really has taken control of the United States of America.
And just to put it in context, it's only just the first year of four. If they
go ahead,
that's just 1/4 of the way in. Yeah. Imagine how fucked up it's going to get.
Yeah,
and
totally
to
fucked
that,
up.
I will add, 2026 will be even more fucked up.
Really?
It will be.
I feel like we should start there, Jacob. Jacob Karsbo, former Danish intelligence officer, also UN Security Council member. He is in Copenhagen, Denmark. Sorry to hear, by the way, big news out of Denmark today. You're no longer delivering letters to houses. That's over.
Oh, yeah. Will we survive it?
I think you're going to make it. People have email now. But meeting you has been one of the great parts of my year. So many of you guys, and I'll just kind of get back to my start on Substack, and then we'll get to why you think 2026 is going to be even more hairy. And then Lev, I'd like you to kind of weigh in as well. But I showed up in March, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, going, hey, let's check the Substack thing out. And, within 3 weeks, I'm talking to the great Lev Parnas. I got Michael Cohen showing up on my fucking podcast. I got Danish intelligence security officer sending me a text going, hey, you want to do a show? I love talking about the shit you guys talk about over there, and I want to connect Canada and Denmark. And then I've got a legendary CBS producer, Zev Shalev, in my ear. We had Katie Couric watch our show the other day. Been able to hook up with Steve Schmidt and the good people at the Save America movement. I mean, this community has given us so much. But the thing that it's really given me, other than friendship and a place to go at 3:00 every single day with my friends, it's given me knowledge and information from parts of the world that I don't get that from and that we don't get it from anymore, Jacob. And having you here kind of disseminate, and having Lev and his contacts disseminate what's going on in Ukraine, what's going on in the EU, having the ability to kind of predict it and work those conversations has made such a huge difference to the lives and the people and the channels that you're involved in here. So first of all, thank you both. I mean, both of you do just incredible work in very, very dark corners. And I want to get to you, Jacob, real quick, because as fucked up as 2025 was, let's start with a Ukraine prediction. Let's start with an EU prediction, knowing what's going on now. We had Trump basically say the other day, hey, yeah, about Putin, he really likes the people in Ukraine. It's fucking craziness to me. He wants Ukraine to succeed as he sends 500 Shahed drones into the beautiful country that we're trying to support and we're trying to help and we're trying to save. What do you think is on deck in 2026? Because this can really go only one of two ways, right?
Well, it can really only go one way, and that's unfortunately a continuation of the war. and the one variable that will determine what way that continuation of the war will go is how much political willingness the democracies can muster. And I don't put the US into that bracket of democracies anymore.
Mhm.
So it's the Europeans, it's the Canadians, it's the Australians, it's the the Japanese, etc. And that's what can change the equation, because Putin and the Russians are going to grind on, regardless of the trouble they're in, because they're in big trouble. But they'll grind on. That's for sure. And yesterday we had Trump saying that he thought Putin was very serious about the peace negotiation. Very serious was what he said. And then within a few hours, we had Putin saying, our army needs to take Zaporizhia, and just shows you how nutty and how crazy that whole alleged peace track
We should
is.
add as well
Because
that the Russian foreign minister claimed that there was a rocket launched at Putin's residence in northwestern Russia that wasn't
drones, yeah.
actually launched. This was a completely fabricated, made up event that didn't happen at all.
Mhm.
President
It's
Zelensky
part of
called it a
yeah.
complete fabrication. There's no evidence to suggest it actually happened. And Trump now agrees that, hey, maybe that didn't actually happen. But, having first said it did happen, this is how insane this process has become. We're talking about imaginary rockets being fired at leaders that aren't even at those homes, in their palatial homes in the outskirts of Russia. I mean, it's kind of stunning that we're here.
Yeah,
Well, I
but
mean,
then
it's
why is
yeah.
that happening? Oh, Lev, you'll jump
No, go
in.
ahead. Go ahead.
I'll just say one thing. That's happening because Zelensky and the Ukrainians have actually played those negotiations quite well, talking about the need for a referendum, etc., etc. And that's putting a little bit of pressure on Putin and Trump. And then they need this to move the goalposts of the whole setting. And that's why I was asked by a journalist today, didn't it surprise you? I said, no, it didn't surprise me, because they do these things, and that's standard procedure almost. Yeah, go
Anything to
Lev.
derail the process, right, Lev?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's a lot to unwind, and I mean, first of all, I agree with Jacob that, and I always say it's going to get worse before it gets better. Because Donald Trump right now is that rat in that corner that's going to come out, and this is where the fight begins. This just think about it, this year was all preparation, but now January, the new year, is when the fight begins to be able, from the Epstein files to the war that he's already started in Venezuela to the Ukraine Russia situation, which we'll talk about. But absolutely, what Jacob's saying is 100% right when it is because the escalations gets there. Not only that. I wrote about it in my Substack yesterday, literally, that this whole thing by Putin. I mean, Zelensky played them very, I mean, incredible. That it was all theatrics. Zelensky flew to Canada, spoke to Carney. Before that, they had the Europeans already up, and the Europeans know that America is not an ally. One of the things I'm writing about is the Europeans, Zelensky, and Canada want Trump to step away already, because what part of the phone call from Putin, what my sources told me, was to prolong, and you saw what happened 2 week. Donnie come out, and now again prolong it for 2 weeks. What people don't understand, what happens in these 2 weeks is Russia continues to do terroristic attacks, not fighting on the front line. The front line, they're stalled, they're not proceeding, but they're doing terroristic attacks into cities where people live, like Kiev, Kharkiv, Donetsk, and others, where there's no military facilities. Today, my sources told me that Russia on the border somewhere of Kiev has opened up, shown. What's it called? Launcher, not atomic. What's it called? Nuclear launcher.
Oreshnik missile.
Did you hear about that, Jacob?
Yeah, yeah, the
The missile
Oreshnik missile in
the
Belarus.
Russian
Yeah.
missile, yeah, that is already on the fire. The fact that Putin came out, had that call with Trump also was basically an escalation, because again, Jacob said it on the dot. What Zelensky did was strategical. It looked like it was giving up, and a lot of people, the media, got fooled by it by saying, "Look, we're 95% there." What they don't understand is that 5% is the whole ball game.
Mhm.
There is there, it doesn't matter 95% or 5%. We're nowhere near where we're. It's not close. That's why it's all theatrics and illusions, and that's why the real truth is Zelensky put two very important things into the 5% that they did not agree on, which people couldn't understand. He even told me, "I'll give you everything. I'll give you the land you want. I'll give you whatever you want. I need two things. I need 60 to 90 days ceasefire, and I need a referendum." The reason why he said those two things is because there was those two things. A, Russia will never agree to, and B, it's something that's impossible to have because in 60 and 90 days, it's impossible to have an election in the middle of a war with millions, tens of millions of people displaced, no infrastructure. It's just chaotic. It would be a chaotic scene, and Zelensky knows it, and he knows not only that, but he also knows that the people in Ukraine, what Trump is saying, 91% want to stop the war. Yes, they want the war to stop, but not by surrendering the war. They want the war to stop by Russia getting out of there. 91% of the Ukrainians do not want to surrender, especially land that, just think about it. It's like people living in Chicago right now, and you're going to come over and say, "You know what? Chicago today is we're going to give it to Canada. So you guys got to move out of Chicago or become Canadians." I mean, that's what basically they're saying. I mean, it's like without even a shot being fired. So I do believe that 2026 is going to be worse when it comes to things we're going to have to go through to be able to save our democracy, to be able to save world life around the world. But I truly also have a lot of hope, and I see a lot of potential that 2026 could be a very powerful year with a lot of the movements that we have moving, going in place, with a lot of people uniting, a lot of things that are happening between the polls, between Trump's, the economics, between people standing up, the No Kings rallies and everything else. You're starting to see November 4th, the people coming out. You're starting to see races in Mississippi, off-year races. All of those signs you're starting to see that we should have a positive, strong year. And the biggest thing that I hear, and I want to give hope to everybody out there, is that hopefully we don't have to wait till midterms of 2026, because I truly believe Trump is going to try to pull something. That's why you're seeing the slow moves into Venezuela. I'll never forget that press conference him and Zelensky had, when Zelensky was asked that question by Brian, Marjorie Taylor Greene's boyfriend, about, like, elections. You're not having elections because you have a war. And Trump looked at him and said, "So you're saying that if we had some kind of war here, we wouldn't have to have elections?" And Zelensky said, "Wouldn't you want that?" or something like that. I'll never forget that interaction.
You'd
And
like
so
that, wouldn't you?
you'd like that, wouldn't you? And so what I'm saying to you is, the hope I have is that we don't have to wait till the midterms, because I think Trump will do something, because he understands. Also, people like Vaught understand. People like Stephen Miller understand that it's going to be crucifixion, even if the Democrats take control of the House and the Senate. But what I'm hearing is not only because of the rift with Marjorie Taylor Greene, but also because of a lot of people in the House, because of his attacks right now in Venezuela, because of what's happening also with the Epstein files. Is I'm hearing there's going to be a major revolt come January 5th. When Johnson brings the House back in session, I'm hearing that you're going to see people retire, people not show up to votes, and like Raskin said, we only need four, and all of a sudden Hakeem Jeffrey gets the gavel by mistake, even. You know what I'm saying to you? Not because he's great. So I have hope that, and that's the biggest fear I'm hearing in Trump world, that they're scared. They don't know what's going to take place because of the rift between the party inside the mega movement, beside the certain congressmen. What's going to happen when they come back in session, if they're going to have the votes, if they keep the House. If they do keep the House, and if they're somehow able to, we're going to have a tough year, because he will proceed to continue doing these things. The other thing I'm hearing is that you're going to see in January part of this whole thing that's playing out with Russia right now is Kushner already and Dmitriev and Witkoff have worked out a plan of getting. First of all, they're working on Nord Stream 2 with certain Trump donors. This is the crazy part: Trump donors, wealthy Trump donors that will be involved in the transaction. But they're also talking about how to have a Russian oligarchy money come into the United States and vice versa. And Kushner right now is basically making marriages between our oligarchy, whatever you call it, and their
Oligarchs.
oligarchy to be able, from technology to strategic, what's it called, plans, but basically to get Russia out of the jam that they're in, because economically, Russia, if they were to do a 60, 90-day ceasefire right now, Russia would never be able to start the machine back up. That's how, bad they are. But that's where we are in a nutshell with
Wow,
those
that's
situations.
more than a nutshell. That's a lot there to unpack. Let's
Dude, can we just stop for a second?
Yeah, go for it.
He just keeps dropping bombs.
I know.
Parnas just keeps dropping
Several stories there we need to talk about there. Really big ones. I mean, let's just stay with Zelensky. For the last year, we've seen him transform from a guy who walked into the White House, get berated by Donald Trump and Vance, and now he's turned the entire thing around and he's playing Trump like a fiddle. I mean, he knows exactly what he's doing. He's leading him to the trough, as it were, making him drink, and then every single time he leaves Putin a little bit embarrassed, I think. I mean, Putin's client has to claim these fake attacks on him to get out of talks. It's not really playing in Putin's hand or in Putin's favor. Zelensky's done a remarkable job.
Well, the key that Zelensky realized is that he doesn't need to talk. He's really talking to Putin through Trump.
Yeah.
They realize and it's a lot easier for Zelensky to understand now with Trump, because now he understands he's being manipulated by Putin. Zelensky and the Ukrainians have very good intelligence and understanding of how Putin acts, and that's why Putin right now is getting screwed, because for the first year, 8-9 months, they didn't understand. They couldn't catch up. They were still hoping that Trump was going to come around. They were, like the media, the 180, Trump, maybe the Europeans were, coming up talking about these peace talks. But once they realized that he was completely a Putin transactional puppet, and when Trump starts already the conversations by, let me give Putin a call before we go, and I'll give Putin a call after we go type, Zelensky and the Europeans understand that they're dealing with Putin now. So now it's harder for Putin because they know what he wants, what they're in there. That's why they're playing chess right now, and that's why they didn't come to fight Trump and say, "Oh, we're not going to give you the land." Oh, we got. He didn't come with no negotiate. He basically said, "I'll give you everything. I just want two things that the American people should understand. We need elections." He played it like, listen, even your people understand it. Like, that was very strategic, and Putin, got pissed off, and that's why you saw the reaction with my house got attacked, the missiles, on the border, and all of that.
It's like the dog ate my homework.
Go
ahead.
Go ahead, Jacob.
I will add that this whole, negotiation, I refuse to say peace, but negotiation thing that's going on is also a sign of weakness, because if we go back to the infamous meeting in the Oval Office and the big debacle there, then Zelensky has been pressured also by the Europeans to adopt a more conciliatory approach, even though he has to listen to all the utter nonsense that Trump is talking about, just to avoid these scenes. And I mean, it's probably a good thing that Zelensky used to be an actor, so he knows to pull off a good act, even though he is listening to stuff that, in his mind he'll go like, boom. What's going
Actor
on?
in a reality show, celebrity, walk into
a
negotiation. What happens next? It's kind
I want to
Yeah, good.
I'm sorry. I just want to say, Jacob, because you've dealt with the EU, but it's not just Zelensky. Like watching the Azerbaijani president and the Armenian prime minister or vice versa sitting there together, and Trump sitting in between. And you know what I mean, those people would kill each other. There's no. And Trump is like, oh, we're one happy family. Like we're building the Trump air. And these people are thinking about how they're basically manipulate. Yeah, we'll take some of your Trump jerseys. Absolutely. You want the Nobel Peace Prize? Absolutely. We'll get.
Fill up
I
my
mean,
gift
Okay,
bag with
Mark.
some MAGA cologne.
did you see that? I mean, this
Pair
is. I mean,
sneakers.
Yeah.
yeah, and now supposedly the Iranian nuclear facilities that we wiped out, that they'll never get. We had the most precise strike, the best strike in the world. Nobody strikes like we strike, and the strike was so precise that it
Yeah.
wiped everything. It was the best in the
Obliterated.
world. And now all of a sudden they're like, they better not start that up again because I'm like, what are you like? But it's not going to be in that facility. It's in a different facility because that facility we demolished that facility. So don't think about going to a different facility. I mean, what
Did
the
you catch
heck
the
is going
narrative
on?
shift yesterday? Sorry, Dean, I know you want to jump in, but the narrative
No,
shift
go ahead.
yesterday when we went from in the Netanyahu press conference, we went from these. This was a drug problem, a narco state. Then there was this oil issue, and now we're actually fighting Iranian Hezbollah arms trading. This is the new thing that they're trying to say that the reason they're going to
No
war with Iran.
way.
Yeah,
Hezbollah's making a
Yeah.
fucking comeback.
which is why which is why we might be going to war with Iran as well now.
Yeah.
This is apparently a thing. I didn't realize that Iran had a bunch of military supply chains running through Venezuela. Maybe you guys can, maybe Jacob, you have more intelligence on it than I
I
do.
think those military supply chains that are running through Venezuela all the way through Iran are the same ones that have a flotilla of fentanyl that's coming across the ocean into the United States. That's what I think. I think it's the same excuse, Jacob. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so too. And I'm sorry to disappoint you because I can't dig out intelligence of stuff that's in Trump's head.
I don't even know if you'd call
And
that intelligence.
I mean, I
so-
unfortunately I hate to say it, but I can't tell you what's in Trump's head. Not that I want to, but just that I know. And it's oil, it's black gold. When he looks at Venezuela right now, he's looking at all that oil that he could take over
yeah.
and start cornering the market and OPEC and all of that, and having because you gotta understand this all fits together because what happened earlier in the year, since we're talking about year in review, let me remind you folks, is when Vladimir Putin had a big parade before all of a sudden when we start talking about be careful, watch Venezuela, Trump is going to go after Venezuela. I started talking about like maybe 5-6 months ago, you guys were joining in, we were talking about Trump wasn't talking about Venezuela until all of a sudden after the parade, where Maduro was a guest sitting next to Xi and Putin, like literally hugging each other at the parade.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, who read my Substack and made a big stink about it? Laura Loomer. Laura Loomer makes a big stink about it and say, wait a second, what are we doing? Why are we giving up all this oil to Venezuela, to China and to Russia? They're controlling it. Next thing you know, I can't go into the names of certain people that behind the scenes, some of my sources, conversations happen. The one person I can tell you that was involved in these conversations was Rick Grinnell. Rick Grinnell was involved in, and next thing you know is Trump is understanding there's black gold negotiation. But I could even tell you this, that part of the conversation that when Kushner and Witkoff was in Moscow with Putin was part of Venezuela, was part of the conversation, because right now, for Trump to keep making that push, you got to understand, China and Russia have a very big interest in Venezuela. It's not the same
Very.
Venezuela that was in 2017, 2018. Am I right, Jacob? You
Yeah.
can talk a little bit about that. It's a totally different. So a lot of people, and what we're doing for you here, folks, which the media stopped doing completely, is connecting the dots. We're showing you how all of these things are really all intertwined. They're not separate things. Venezuela, Russia, what's going on with China right now in Taiwan. These are all strategical intertwined things that have been already in the works for the past 9 to 10 months.
Mm.
And
Point.
that's why these guys are sitting at the table, carving up each other's sphere of influence and saying, okay, if you get that, I get this, and so on and so on. And that's why, as we speak, China, they're having the largest military drills and the closest military drills to Taiwan that they've ever had, because that's also part and parcel of they think alike, these three powers, and they want their own spheres of influence. And if you just read the national security strategy, it's all
That
in there.
was, yeah,
This is a really big
that was
point.
complete.
This is really worth focusing on. What's going on in Taiwan is really, hugely significant. They've basically, as a simulation, I don't know how you simulate something like this, but they've basically encircled in the entire Taiwan island. This is
Mhm.
China, of course, in their biggest exercise ever, as you point out. It's called, the name is, just trying to find it here, but I'll find it for you in a second. But
Yeah, it
China
had a really funky name.
yeah, $11.1 billion in US arms have just been sold to Taiwan. So that's the response to this, is that they're now encircling Taiwan with all their navy. This is similar to what's been going on in Venezuela, because Americans are trying to stop the oil and all these other things leaving Venezuela. So you can see that the same strategies that are being used by Trump here are being tested by Xi in Taiwan, are being tested by
Putin.
Putin, and also by Netanyahu in some ways in Gaza. So you've got the
Well,
same
and you,
thing.
you heard you heard what he said yesterday in his press conference with Netanyahu. Where it was that was like a dictator press conference for the ages.
Yeah.
But you heard him say yesterday when they're like, "Hey, what do you make of this whole thing with Taiwan? China is completely encircled Taiwan. They're shooting missiles close to the Taiwanese beaches, and
I'm
they're
not
scaring the
worried.
shit out of the Taiwanese people." And this was literally his answer. He's like, "I don't know. I get along really well with Xi, so we'll see what happens." And it's to me, and I wrote a piece about it because I was like, "Oh, this is just him moving aside, like he's trying to do for Putin in Ukraine, like he's trying to do for Orban in Hungary. What he's trying to do is tell everybody that he's friends with them, using that relationship as a justification to say, hey, they're allowed to do whatever they want to, because he's doing the same thing." And I think that that's the part that scared me the most about yesterday's press conference. I mean, the fact that the cheese is off the cracker is one thing. The fact that he's standing there with Netanyahu going, yeah, it's no big deal. I'm going to give him a pardon, and we're going to give him some F-15s to keep beating the shit out of the Middle East. That was scary. But the scariest part for me, Lev, Jacob, Zev, honest to God, was when he basically kind of co-signed what China wants to do to Taiwan yesterday in his press conference. That's how I read it. You guys?
Yeah,
I mean,
Yeah,
look,
but
yeah,
but 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 that's exactly, the big story of 2025. All the people that have been sane washing, what Trump and Xi and Putin are doing, and sane washing Trump and saying, well, he's doing this with Putin to line up against Xi and so on and so on. This is not what that's about. It's about spheres of influence. These
that's
guys
right.
think alike. And if you saw I believe it was April press conference in Murmansk by Putin, because the BBC was up there, Steve Rosenberg, it was the same thing. Putin's greenlighting Trump's takeover of Greenland,
right.
Absolutely.
and he did that back in April, and that's what they do.
Big
And
club.
still, there have been people saying washing what's going on, and that's really what's mind-boggling to me, that people just refuse to see what's going on.
It's a real
Yeah.
reversal of 80 years or more of us agreeing that we don't do this kind of stuff anymore in the world, that the world is not about invading other countries and taking up their resources and the winner takes all the spoils, that we, in fact,
Mhm.
have respect for each other's borders. I mean, maybe that's not been as accurate as we'd like it to have been through all the covert and proxy activities we've seen, but still, it's been mostly respected since World War II. And now these guys are reversing that entire idea of how the world operates. And it's fine maybe now when they're getting along and they're all carving up the world the way they want to. But what happens when they don't get along? I mean, which is, these guys are not prone to good neighborliness. What happens when all the good favors and all the you do this, I'll do that go evaporate, and we're really left in a real problem with these different sides really facing each other with enormous armies and huge nuclear
Well,
arsenal.
you want to go,
And
Jacob,
that's
or
the
you want? Go
that's
ahead. Go
that's
ahead.
the big problem, because the whole dynamic of this stuff is, as long as we let these predators do like they do, the closer we get to World War III.
Hmm.
Because
And
the only thing that can avert it is if the democracies and countries around the world that feel at unease with all this stuff, line up to protect international law, and that's the only thing that we can do. And as long as we don't do that, we get closer to World War III. That's
Yeah.
that's the sad state of affairs.
That is a
I,
very
I I mean,
yeah.
that's one of the things why we have to quickly do, and one of the reasons why I also say that it's going to get worse before it gets better. Because once we
Mhm.
get Trump out of office, once we stop, it's not going to stop Xi. It's not going to stop Putin. It's not going to stop the things that have been placed in motion worldwide. So whoever the next president's going to come in, he's going to have his hands full, or he or she's going to have his hands full, because to try to unite the world. Just think about, I mean, a lot of people don't realize you could like Biden, you could not agree with him, not like him, whatever the case is. But what Biden did when he came in 2020, after what Trump did, the reason why Putin didn't take Ukraine so quickly, even though he had misinformation, they came in, it was because Biden was able to come in and use 50 years of experience and friendships to get NATO back together,
Mm,
unite the forces, get everybody on the side, get military quick. Even if you disagree, it wasn't enough. And yes, there's a lot of impact, but I could promise you, very few, to be able to do that's what, and that Trump did in his first term, because when he left, if you remember, NATO was in disarray, and that's why Trump did what he did. I mean, what Putin did what he did. It's all a fake when Trump, when Putin says I didn't invade because of you. No, he invaded specifically because of what Trump did, how he left up. Putin was like a pariah, sitting there waiting for the open window. And as soon as the elections were over and he had that time period while the transition was taking place, he knew nothing was going to happen, and he went in and started moving the soldiers, and we saw what transpired slowly, surely, all of a sudden.
Mm.
So absolutely, we're going to have a lot more to do once they're gone, and that's why it's all. But I just wanted to just quickly. I know we started off. I didn't even
yeah.
get a chance to say, because I wanted to say something, since we're talking about Ukraine, and I don't know how long Jacob has. I want to mention a story here that was huge in 2025, having to do Ukraine, with our own family, our own hero, Alexander.
Hmm.
Mm.
To end off the year, that was we had some incredible miracles, some really scary parts, and I just wanted to say thank you. Just give an update. Alexander is recovering. He has some broken ribs, concussion. He's doing much better. His eye is bruised up, just bruises. But the biggest thing is he's actually, we're going to try to do a live tomorrow with him for like 15, 20 minutes. So he wants to say something to you before the end of the year. But the incredible miracles that we were able to do as a community, just think about, folks, what we are to do. We were able to deliver so much aid. We've, I think, raised over 130 or $140,000 in a period of 6, 7 months for Ukraine to deliver aid, and that was to each and every one of you. And I want each and every one of you to give you a hug, give yourself a hand and applaud, because you just think about how many lives, how many people, how many kids, how many just you guys helped, and that's just on our part. I mean, Jacob has his own, everybody has their own parts that they're doing and delivering, but we as a community have been just incredible. And I want to say, hopefully this war ends, but because the war is not ending right now, next year is going to be, especially coming in, is going to be even harder, stronger, but with people and heroes like Alexander, and people like Jacob, people like Dean, Zev, us all that are out here supporting. And each and every one of you, we are going to make sure that Ukraine survives. Because remember one thing, it's easy to sit in a warm house with your kids, and talking about how these people are literally, I can't explain to you, what it's like to be in below zero, snowing, no
Mm.
heat, your children looking at you and saying, "Mom, not forget about, I can't get a present. What are we gonna eat today?" Or and stuff like that. And what are we gonna drink today? Not taking showers for weeks. Hearing bombs flying over the air every night, hiding in train stations. I mean, I can't even explain to you the mental torture these people are going through. And that is why your support, your help, not only gives them the life, but just to know that people around the world, Canada, Europe, Australia, New Zealand, I mean, from all over the world, that cares and supports them, is the most important thing. So I wanted to say, I think out of all the stories that we've had in the year, that one, besides Alex surviving, and God bless, thank God Alex survived, but I want to talk about that story for 1 second, about that church. I mean, this is something you really hear about. I was talking today to a friend of mine, and we were talking. I said, usually you watch a movie, you hear about these things, and you say, "Does things like that really happen?" I mean, the miracles like that really happen like that? You know, you watch a movie and they say, "Oh, you know what? We need water, and let's pray here." And all of a sudden, somehow 2 days later, somebody walks by with a bucket of water, and you say, "God is great." And you say, "Does that really happen?" Like, you know, when and to be a part of that, to actually be a part of that, to watch Alex literally go to a war-torn part. He's leaving. He has one generator left. He sitting and eating on his way out of Odessa, and right in front of him is a little church, all broken up. And I'll never forget. He goes, "Cuz I don't know what, you know, I was something dragged me in there to just go in there." He walks in there, and the pastor's telling him the story. I mean, just think about it. He's telling him a story of how they have no lights for over a week. I mean, the same story mostly every Ukrainian is going with. And he tells him, and he turns around and says, "What we did is we built a spot." And that brought tears to my eyes because they literally built a spot for a generator with no way of getting a generator, not knowing where it's going to come. And he says to him, he goes, we said, we're going to pray and God's going to give it to us. And Alex breaks down in tears, goes into his trunk and takes out a generator.
Oh my gosh.
I just want to tell you, since then, we've delivered 3 more generators to the church and 2 other churches and synagogues and to Odessa. And so many kids, you know, the videos I put out are having a Christmas, Hanukkahs, because the one thing we were able to do this community is deliver light to a dark, dark, dark place at the end of the year on the holidays. So I just want to say to each and every one of you, it was incredible.
That is amazing. I want to play that video before we get to the end of the show. So if you can send it to me, Lev, I'll play it at the end of the show. It'll be great.
Awesome. I'll send it to you.
Yeah, it's beautiful
Just
moments.
a quick thing on that, Lev, and thanks for raising it. Now, the big thing for me in 2026 is whether the Europeans, the Canadians will finally realize how important Ukraine is for our common security. Ukraine has the strongest army. Ukraine has probably a top 3, top 4 defense industry in Europe. They're crucial for us, and they mean much more for European security. They're going to mean much more for European security than the US in the years to come. So we really need to get much more behind Ukraine, and we need to speak to our publics about it, and we need to be able to make progress that way to build a strong collective defense in Europe that is European, and by all means with you Canadians also. But we can't rely on the US. That's for sure.
Well, and this is the question I kind of wanted to ask, and then we'll kind of wrap up the Ukraine conversation because this is obviously what everybody's looking toward in 2026, which is what's going to happen. And it's kind of a 2-parter because Canada's all in; it's unconditional. I mean, we've got one of the largest Ukrainian diasporas in the world. Mark Carney is absolutely a partner of Zelensky and the people of Ukraine. Canada is. He came here before he went to Mar-a-Lago, got a $2.5 billion upfront investment. Then Japan anteed up another $6.9 billion, all upfront cash, saying, "Here, whatever you need." And now you've got the EU, Japan, and a couple of other countries standing next to Canada, saying, "Okay, your move." And they're playing this so well, to your point, not just Zelensky. Carney put out a note today, which I thought that was fascinating. He's like, just can't wait to see what happens with Trump and Zelensky. Canada and the EU are standing by to make sure there are security guarantees going forward, no matter what, for the people of Ukraine. So I'm watching that happen. And then I'm also watching Trump drive the United States off of a cliff and the Epstein files coming, trying to run away from the truth, trying to run away from facts. I'm watching Zelensky and the people of Ukraine run circles around Donald Trump and do a number on Vladimir Putin and his inability to negotiate an end to this because he doesn't want an end to this. What happens if Trump gets turfed out of the White? Let's talk about hope for a second. What happens if he gets turfed out of the White House before the midterms or loses the midterms? Is there hope in Ukraine? Or because I know there will be hope in the United States, but you always worry about what's behind that guy, like what the next guy is going to be, who the next guy is going to be. And I know Lev said it earlier, as did you, Jacob, where you guys talked about how it doesn't matter if and when he goes because there's a whole machine behind him, and you've got a multipolar interest from all of these other empires that have been working with his regime. It's not just him. But is he that important to Putin and Xi's dream of uniting a world under three different empires? Is he going to be that important to fascism spreading across the world? Is he going to be that important, or is it someone else behind him? Because that's what I worry about.
Well, I don't think he has and then I'll give it to you, Jacob. I don't think he has the same relationship or the same alignment with Xi as he has with Putin. Putin has that's very important to understand. Yes, they might have similar things that align
Yeah.
with interests, but they're not friends and they're not frenemies, and they're not, they're actually, China is right now very dangerously for all of us watching this, the way Trump is being basically used as a puppet by Moscow and the Kremlin, and that's why you're seeing what's play out. Again, unfortunately, this all goes back to the Epstein files. This all goes back to a compromise that the Russians have with Trump. This all goes back to power, greed, and 40 years of doing investigative work on him and digging up compromise to eventually get him into a place where, I mean, just think about the simple fact that this should be one of, if not the biggest news of the century, let alone of the year, is that the Wall Street Journal verified what we've been breaking for 7 months, that Steve Witkoff was not assigned by Donald Trump as the special envoy to Russia. He was chosen by Vladimir Putin to be the special envoy. Just think about that for 1 second. I mean, I know we could laugh and it's crazy, but that's reality, folks. That is exactly, because if you even recall, Steve Witkoff's official role was Middle East envoy. All of a sudden, he's flying over to Russia to meet with Putin. I kept sounding the alarm. I'm like, wait a second, this guy met with them once, twice, three times. Four. Wait a second, nobody's met with Putin 4 times, five. No interpreter. Where's the CIA? What is going on, folks? Kirill Dimi. And now all of a sudden, I mean, just think about that. And this is the guy. So I mean, what could we expect, and what could we be talking about? I mean, if Putin's picking who his special envoy. I mean, the other thing I'll even throw you in, and then I'm going to pass on to Jacob. I'm sorry because there's just so much to talk about. Is think about who is
It's a whole year in review.
Yeah.
It's a whole year.
Just think about, how many Putin influences are in Trump's world. Think about who's the ambassador to India. It's what's his name?
Yeah, that Maltese guy.
Yes, yes.
What's his name?
Please, yes. He used to be the guy that ran all the hirings
The
and firings.
clearances.
Yeah.
The
This is not a
clearances.
surprise.
Sergey Gore. Sergey
Yeah,
Gore.
yeah, yeah,
Sergey
yeah.
Gore, thank you,
Sergey
Sergey
Gore,
Gore.
that's
Sergey
Memory.
Gore. I just think, and again, people don't realize, because these are little things they sleep, but there's a reason, because India is a major player in this oil and this whole thing going on with Russia. All of a sudden, India's best friend Modi's going to China, meeting with Putin. They're hugging. Sergey Gore is all of a sudden the ambassador of India. Like, this is only the beginning. These are all like little chess pieces that are being manipulated and played by Putin and the KGB, and Trump and his idiots are running around like chickens without a head, not knowing what's going on, just playing into his role.
Can I push back before we get to Jacob here a little bit? Because I do think that China is aligned with Russia very directly. And I think that their 30-year plan indicates that they are, in fact, in sync very much on strategic initiatives. And that, in fact, I don't know if Russia would even be able to do any of this stuff without the funding it's getting from Beijing. And Beijing is very smartly sitting back, pulling all the puppet strings that it needs in Russia and in the United States, and waiting for its moment to get Taiwan and just as basically ascend to the primary position as a world superpower, while watching the US dollar decline, maybe collapse completely and be replaced by this fraud called cryptocurrency. I mean, it is all working out according to Beijing's plan. If you look at it from that perspective, I don't think that they're on the same level as Putin. I think they're they're the puppet masters of this entire geopolitical chess game that is going on
Well,
right now.
well, you're 100% right, except for things changed when Trump came into office. And when Trump came into office, Putin got his puppet and Putin got the control back.
I
Prior
don't
to
know,
that,
because there was
you're
a lot of money being spent by the Chinese on Donald Trump too. I mean, there was I think several $100 million that was given to Donald Trump and his enterprises from Chinese interests. I mean, I'm not saying that he's
It's nothing. That's several hundred million.
yeah.
I mean, right? I mean, nothing compared to what the Qataris and what's planning on with the Russians and with the oil and the gas and all of this. I'm trying to tell you, you're talking about such numbers that's not even realistic. But it's not. It's not even that. It's to be able to control. It's like, see, with Putin, they have direct conversation. I mean, have you seen
Yeah,
Witkoff sit down with
yes.
Xi 5 times? And I mean, they don't have.
No, but
The,
I'm sure Putin speaks to Xi regularly, and I'm sure that gets
but
passed down the line a lot.
but you gotta understand the relationship between China and Jacob. Maybe I'm wrong, but tell me, is the way I've been noticing it from my way is like China treats Russia. Yes, they support them, just like even the war with Ukraine. They'll give them enough so they don't lose, but they won't give them enough so they could just win. They control them, and I agree with you in that part that China had the upper edge all the time, especially with while the war was going on. But the shift changed a little, and that's why you saw Russia coming. That's why you saw Putin getting accepted with the red carpet in China and the way it was all rolled out to him after he had his red carpet rolled out in Alaska. That was not coincidence. It was strategic because Putin. You're right. They do speak to China, but the strength level there, it's like if China was on top once Putin got Trump into office, Putin went on top a little bit because right now Putin is controlling the way the world atmosphere. China is just standing and trying and watching and building. I agree with you, but Jacob, maybe you could jump in on that. Give us your opinion.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think with a little bit of nuance, we're probably all in agreement because I think
Yeah.
the big advantage for China is the weakening of the democracies.
Mm,
Yeah,
And their
both.
whole
exactly. Yeah.
project and Putin's project of a multipolar world and the whole doing away with NATO rhetoric that's also driving in China, just like it is in Russia. So they're really getting a boon from it as well. I agree with Lev also that the relationship between the Trump administration and China is not as close as it is between Russia and the Trump administration. So there's a bit of a difference, but at the end of the day, just like John Bolton has said a number of times that they are drinking vodka straight out of the bottle in the Kremlin. I don't know what they do in Beijing, whether they smoke Cuban cigars or whatever, but they are having a ball because democracies are getting weakened and that's Trump's game, that's Putin's game, that's Xi's game. So from that perspective, I think they're all in agreement. And when they talk about a multipolar world, it's a tripolar world where they can do their dirty deals and enrich themselves and further get even more powerful. And that's the whole game, really.
So can I ask you, Jacob, how important is Canada going to be? I know you listen. I'm not going to make this all about Canada or me.
Canada is important. It's actually, it's true.
Well, yeah, but I want to know because of our geography, because of our leadership, because of the ideology, because of who we've aligned ourselves with, the safe deal that we have with the EU. We've got this incredible defense, security, and trade deal with Sweden right now. We've just, I believe, entered another couple of deals. We've made our I think, Latvian army a permanent army on the eastern flank. And I know we're building, and I know we're doing what we're doing, but diplomatically, and according to the stance that you've seen Canada take on an international basis, international level, how important is Canada going to be this next year to not just Ukraine, but for democracy to hold fast here in North America and, of course, in Europe? Because I feel like we're the official opposition to Donald Trump, Canada. I feel like Canada holds a really unique opportunity here, not just to be able to glue all of this together and keep everybody moving forward, but because we're the apartment above the fucking meth house. we're intently familiar with what's going on down there.
Yeah, exactly. No, I mean, and I'm not saying this because you're Canadian, but in my mind, Canada is hugely important, and I'm sure that most people in Denmark who think straight, they agree with me because not least because of Greenland. Canada is opening a consulate in Greenland. Thank
Yeah.
you very much,
Oh, that's a good idea.
and we'll welcome you. Unlike the U.S. consulate, uh, but uh, but no, Canada is really important because the size of the country. It's a G7 nation. I know that Trump doesn't want to do G7 anymore. He wants his alliance of dictators or whatever we can call it, dictators club instead of G7 and talking to democracies, but it's just hugely important that we have you on board, and I'm one to hope that the Europeans will really develop, the business, the military ties to Canada in a great way, because that's people we can trust and work with. I haven't been to Canada for a number of years, but I'm going next
Oh,
week
oh
skiing.
yeah, you should come.
Yeah,
Down.
yeah, yeah. I'm gonna drive up to where you are and see you for an afternoon.
Can I just ask on this thing, Dina, your perspective in here is really important. I mean, because if you look at the map from the top down, if you look at it from the North Pole down, Canada's surrounded really by Russia, a unfriendly United States, and China, and it's not only important in terms of setting up some sort of democratic opposition to these union of autocrats. It's also a big target for these three countries who are surrounding this democratic stronghold. I mean, it's probably the one thing they would want more than anything else, probably more than Greenland, maybe. I don't know, probably. In terms of a sphere of influence, in terms of a resource base, it seems
Well,
to
that's
me
what
like
Trump called Canada in his national security document. He called it a what did he call it? A vassal state and a sphere of influence for the United States. Effectively, a dumping ground and a mercantile store for the United States. Come and get what you want. Leave anything here.
I mean, this is where you would want to. This is you fast forward. This could be Ukraine. 10 years ago.
Well, listen, and to get to your point,
Yeah.
Mark Carney and this government understand that. And one of the things that's happening in Canada right now as a result, and I go back to what Jacob said about the importance of Ukraine, their army, their technology, their defense forces, their drone technology, they're cutting edge. They're the best in the fucking world. Canada is working with Ukraine. It's part of our security and trade deal with them. It's part of our support and their support for us. Canada needs that technology. Canada needs Ukraine. We need them to teach us how to do this. The fucking free world needs them to teach us how to do this. And what's going on in Canada right now, which is really incredible, has been this very quiet building of these manufacturing facilities across Canada where we're actually producing drones. We're using Ukrainian technology. We're working with the Ukrainian people and the Ukrainian defense forces, which is really, really significant. It's significant for a couple of reasons. A, the closer that Trump and Putin get to building their friendship bridge from Siberia to Alaska scares the shit out of the fucking. That was one of the craziest things I've ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, it should be.
Kirill Dmitriev is like, we're building a fucking tunnel. And I'm like, what is it? What is this? He says, it's going to go from, and then we're going to trade resources. We're going to connect both through a tunnel and get Canada.
Elon Musk's company. Elon
Yeah.
Musk's company.
Yes, Boring Company.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's the tone in Canada now. And if you've been kind of paying attention and reading some of those tea leaves, Canada has activated a 300,000 person civilian armed forces unit that they're trying to recruit right now. These are people that you and me, it's like National Guard, but in
It's
Canada.
actually happening. I've got friends who are joining up for this thing. I was like,
Yeah.
This just announced last week and it's already happening. This is, for Canada, which normally doesn't do anything quickly, this is remarkable that they're actually already training people in drone warfare. I mean,
well, and read the tea leaves. Not only training people in drone warfare, teaching them how to fucking use bullets, teaching them how to use guns, teaching them how to use grenades, teaching them how to survive on the land. You'll do a couple of weekend courses and then you'll go out and I guess take care of business. But 300,000 people. There's another drive for 30,000. You've got a bunch of EU countries that are considering conscription. So, if you don't think that You can't yell fire in a movie theater, as we all know.
Yeah.
But world leaders are quietly going, okay, everybody, just get ready to leave your chairs. We're going to turn the cameras off for a second, and this might be the end of the movie, and you might have to leave the theater. That's how I read it, Jacob. I could be wrong, but that's how I read every single one of those announcements. This soft understanding that most of us that do this kind of work go, oh, these are the drum beats of something very, very bad. And Canada is not a safe country when it comes to what might happen right now.
Yeah, exactly. I fully agree, and that's happening. And I think the real thing that Canada has got going for them is that your government was quick in realizing, how to stand up to Trump, and you got the elbows up. I think on the European side, there's a tendency to try to smooth things over, even when you can't, and I think that's one thing the Europeans should study from Canada, and that's why I think the diplomacy between the European countries and Canada needs to be improved. Actually, the Danish ambassador in Ottawa is a guy I know really well. He's a good guy, and I think I just think that's hugely important to bring out plays from your playbook, because you're the guy the guys that stand up to Trump, and we need to do the same, because otherwise the pressure just increases. It's the
Yeah.
same with Putin, and we need to realize.
Just to underline something here, it's so important for people to understand we're going to be fighting an ideological battle here, right? I mean, this is about countries that believe in democracy, that don't have the military power necessarily, against countries that don't believe in democracy but have been taken over by autocrats, who do believe in democracy but have been taken over by autocrats with large military power. And it's going to be a battle of hearts and minds versus military might at the end of the day. So what Canada does and what Europe does, what Denmark does now in terms of influencing democracy around the world is very important. In the same way that Trump is now starting to help, the extreme right parties in Europe, I think it's fair game for Canada and Europe to be helping the Democratic parties in the United States and elsewhere. I mean, it's
Foreign interference for everybody.
yeah. I mean, let's have
Yes.
equal foreign interference because
Subversive
that's how
influence.
we win this war.
We're gonna subvert the corrupt governments.
I'll tell you the one thing that all of you just said
Yeah.
without actually saying it is that now more than ever we need to support Ukraine, because Ukraine is the biggest army that we all have compared, that is out there fighting. They have the biggest technology in drone. They are on the front line, and if they are able to succeed, we don't have to worry about Canada, Denmark, the EU facing a tyrant. So that's why it's a lot easier, a lot better for us to be able to support the Ukrainians right now, to be able to go out there and do whatever we can to be able to stop it where it is before it spreads. It's like a cancer, folks. Once it starts going, it's a lot harder to stop. So that's why we got to move quicker, we got to move stronger, and like we said, this year was a bad year. Next year we have to be prepared. We can't sugarcoat and think, oh, it's going to be all daisies, and no, it's going to be a tough year. But if we're prepared for it, if we know what we're going into, think about another. The most important thing is the future, and the future, it lies in our hands. And history is going to judge each and every one of us what we did during this time period. And the most important thing, like I always say, each and every one of you could do something, from spreading a message, putting a Substack, retweeting, remessaging, subscribing, becoming a patron, contributing. There's so many different ways to help. But the one thing is, everybody needs to do something, because that's why right now it's about unity together to be able to start. Because it's not just like we talk about, it's not just in the United States. What we're seeing play out in the United States with Donald Trump is playing out all over the world, folks. You're seeing it in Brazil, you're seeing it in Argentina, you're seeing it in Eastern Europe,
Chile.
you're seeing it all over. Chile, far right movements being pushed. What's it called? And I know we're joking
Yeah.
with
No, it's happening
Democrat, but
everywhere.
Yeah, it's happening everywhere, and that's why we need to make sure, as a world united, to be able to stand up to tyrants, authoritarianship, and dictatorship. And it all begins where? In America,
In
because if we
Canada,
could get that,
actually, in Europe. I mean, that's the same thing as what Russia does to the rest of the world. It has been doing with their disinformation campaigns and misinformation. Hey, let's do it. Let's do the opposite of that make sure that the American people realize they're being supported by foreign countries. Americans also feel very, I think, abandoned by the world. They've sort of been left in this crisis on their own. They're being blamed for everything, and maybe is their fault, maybe isn't their fault. And I think they need to feel supported, because that's really what's going to break the American autocracy. At the end of the day, Trump's world is going to break by things like Epstein. Is going to break things like with people being beaten in the next election as dramatically as we expect him to. Those kinds of things are going to really hurt this autocratic drive. But they're going to feel like they've got the support and of the
that that
world as
that
well
that
behind them.
that that's an extremely important message, Zev. What you just said right now, I think, is probably one of the most important things that we're talking about, and that's why I say unity. Because you're right. No, it's extremely important, because what Trump and what drives dictatorship, and I've lived through it, I've seen it all over the world. What Trump is trying to do is turn Americans against the world, to get angry at the world, to feel left out, because to become us against them. Because once you drive people to us against them, it's easier to control their
Mm.
minds, to be able to follow into your dictatorship role and America first policies, where forget the world, close the borders, we don't care. But you know what I'm saying to you? And that is what. So if Americans, and just like the Ukrainians right now, feel united with the rest of the world,
Yeah.
that it's not anger with Canada. We're not fighting with Canada. We're united with Canada against dictatorship, against Trump. We're not fighting with Denmark and the EU. We're united with the French, with the UK, with the Ukrainians against Trump and the authoritarian dictator. That is the message, because the unity is the most important, not just for Ukraine, but what you just said, very important for Americans, because that's part of what Putin, Trump, and all of them try to do, is turn us against them. Just like in the war against Ukraine. Think about it. And Jacob will tell you, I mean, you guys all know, Ukrainians and Russians this is one. They just think of they were there was no. It's not. It's like, you had a grandmother that lives there, uncle lives there. It was like, this is like, it's one people, and Putin was able to turn us against them, turn the Ukrainians into the enemy, and that is what Trump is trying to do. Say America first. That's what the America First movement is from the 1930s. It's us against them. That what's it called? White nationalist movement. So very important words, Zev. I just wanted to
Mm.
touch on that.
I think it's a good point you're making about the white nationalist movement. That's exactly what that's about.
Yeah, and you know what? It's such a there are far-reaching aspects of that point that you made, which Lev beautifully said, Zev. One of the things that I've taken away from 2025 has been the deluge of Americans that I've met in America, that I've met through Substack, that all ask me the same question and all say the same thing. It all starts with, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." That's the first thing they say. And then the second thing they say to me is, "Do you still like us? Do you still like us? Because we feel so fucking alone down here." And we know that's the majority of us, but no one wants to talk about it with us. So when people get an outlet like conversations like this with an American, Danish intelligence guy, American fixer in the Trump world, chief MAGA sausage maker, this guy, a couple investigative reporters, and then me, where two of them are Canadian, one guy's from Denmark, and we're all saying the same fucking thing, which is we understand that there's better America. We totally do. We understand that America is going through it. We're standing with you. The boycott from Canada, that's not because we hate America. That's because we want Trump out of office, and if we sink your tourism economy, then maybe someone will get the message. The way that we talk about Canada, the way that we position Canada as America's best friend, still to this day, that's smart money, because that's the smart thing to say now. It's not just the smart thing to say, but it's the unifying thing to say, to everybody's original point, like in Ukraine, right? If they know and they think and they see Donald Trump is going to abandon us, but we've got Canada, Estonia, Lithuania, we got Poland, we got Denmark, we got Finland, we have the EU, we have our allies. We know that we feel comfortable and secure in those relationships. Shedding the U.S. relationship is going to be a big deal, but it comes at a cost. And that cost is 300 million people who didn't vote for the prick are going to sit there and go, now we got no friends. Now we're the fucking baddies, right? Now we're those people. And that's really the saddest part of this for me. Obviously, what's going on in Ukraine is the saddest part. But what Trump has done to 300 million Americans that didn't vote for him, the panic, the paranoia, the anxiety, the idea that, oh, I guess we're not friends with Canada anymore, the us versus them stuff with a 250-year-old relationship that's been rock solid. We used to send each other fucking Christmas trees all the time. It's like I mean, it's just, that's been truly the saddest part, is listening to Americans not know where they stand with the rest of the world.
Yeah, there's going to be a real opportunity. Sorry, go ahead, Jacob.
I don't know how many times I've had to reiterate that I'm probably the most pro-American person in Denmark, or one of them, at least. I've been to war with the U.S. I've been embedded with U.S. forces. I have a son that was born in the U.S. I've lived in the U.S. I've had some of the most brilliant colleagues that I've had were from the U.S. So I know that, but what is happening now is not about right or left. Are you conservative or what are you? This is about democracy. This is about democracy and humanity. Yeah, yeah, and that's what we're fighting for. And we need to rally the Americans on that course, and that's going to be crucial for the coming year. The battle for democracy is happening now, because we're being tested. We're being tested. It's all in the national security strategy. It's all happening. We're seeing it day in, day out. So yeah, that's what we have to face up to.
But I still believe that there's nothing that can beat the power of freedom and the power of billions of people who aspire towards freedom and democracy. You can point as many nuclear weapons at those people as you want, but at the end of the day, that spirit that is America, that spirit that is the spirit of democracy, is so powerful and has driven the world into so much goodness in the last 80 years, despite everything else that has happened. It's a rallying cry that's easy to do, and it's a rallying cry that can be won. And it sort of wants me to lead me into this domestic politics conversation, which I'm dying to have with everybody. There is a center in America that's really craving a centrist movement that's neither the extreme right nor the extreme left, that can, I think, in this next election even, really find a path towards a coalition kind of middle government that is able to impeach this president and his government and replace it with something that's centrist and smart and reaches the middle of the country. It's not even that hard to imagine. The same people that MTG is now trying to get from the right, and I think this is a political move for her to become president.
And by the way, it might work. Jewish space laser lady might actually make it out of this alive.
If she can do it, God bless her. If she can be the Speaker of the House next year, and if she can be the president to get us out of Trump world, go for it.
God forbid. Thank God America's got a short memory, because Jewish space laser lady might be the next fucking president of the United States.
Where is the answer from the Democrats? Where is the opposition from the Democrats? Why is the Democrats not saying, well, you know what, it's Gavin Newsom or it's whoever they want to put up there and say, this is the guy who's going to build the coalition for the middle, and we're going to run for the presidency next year. And it's just not, to me, it seems like it's a political play that should be done. It just seems obvious. But they're sort of waiting their turn for 2028. They're like, okay, we'll just sit around until the next presidency should, we don't have to wait till 2028.
Lev's smiling, which means he wants to say something, and it's going to be profound or it's going to be very inside.
No, I'm saying to you, like, I've been speaking to some people. I know there's some people that are going to come out, and it's not Gavin Newsom and it's not Pritzker. There's others that are in the works. There's actually one that I'm going to be backing, and will be, coming out soon. But strategically, right now, it's not. No, not Romney.
I think Romney's in the work. I think Romney's thinking about this. I think Romney's going to play in here.
I'll say there's some of our subscribers are very smart. They know me. They mentioned the name. But it's not Romney. I'll say that much. Some of you have guessed who will be talking about. I mean, there's still a lot of time before that, but strategically, right now, it's not a presidential leader you need. It's too early for that to come out because there's so much fighting to go on right now. We need the midterms more than anything. And I think if you had somebody that came out on the national agenda, he would take away from or she would take away from the midterms, which I think right now the Democrats are in such a strategical position right now. They don't need anything. Trump's doing all the work for them. The only thing we really need is to unite and make sure that pray to God that Trump doesn't invoke the Insurrection Act or stops voting or tries to some way impede it, because we truly believe that without that, I think we're going to have a really good a reaction when it comes to that. But I truly agree with you that I think the country is a little bit tired of the far right, the far left, and more people are moving. But look, that's what made America great to begin with. That's what made America different than other countries, because you didn't have the extreme one way or the other. Yes, you had the left, the right, you had some progression, you had some far right, but at the end of the day, whoever was president, he was president for all the people. This is the first time in our history that we have a president that literally comes out and says, I'm only president for people that pay me and like me. If you don't pay me and if you don't like me, I'm not your president. Go screw yourself. Leave the country. I'm gonna throw you out. Like, I mean, literally, like, we've never had that before. So, like I said, we're making history and we're living part of history. So a lot of it is unknown territory because we've never been there. Like now we're sitting to see what is the Supreme Court going to do with these tariffs. I mean, one way or the other, whichever way they're going to go, it's going to be it's going to be a bombshell. Because think about it, if they allow it, Trump's going to go on a tear. We don't know where he's going to go. If they disapprove it, we got all this trillions of dollars that I don't know who took. Where is it sitting? How is it going to go back? What the hell is going to go? I mean, just think about it. I mean, that's a decision that is going to take place in 2026. I mean,
dude, what about the tariff shelf? There's money on the tariff shelf.
Where is that? Is that elf on the shelf? Is that the elf on the shelf? Where is this tariff shelf?
Oh, there's a tariff shelf. You just get a couple billion off that thing. You hand it to some farmers, and all's forgiven. That's the deal. 200 billion, by the way. And SCOTUS is going to have a decision. I'm hearing in the first 2 to 3 days of the new year. That'll be not very friendly for Donald Trump. He's got 3 different options. None of them are good. One of them is the Insurrection Act. So we'll see. We'll see, to your point. But yeah, I mean, he has ran that country into the fucking ground. Like, he has ran that country to the ground. The thing that makes me fucking laugh every day is when I get up and I watch him stand at the stump and go, it's the hottest fucking country in the world.
No, forget it's one thing him saying it, but when he turns around and says, listen, they all tell me. The Qataris, they call me up. Putin, do you understand? Putin called me up and said that we are the hottest country in the world. I sit there and I said, what did he just take? Like, is he? I think Elon shared some ketamine with him or something. I mean, something has to be going on. I mean, like, who says something like that? Putin, like, he brings Putin, gives him the red carpet for Putin to come and say, we would have never started war in Ukraine if Donald Trump would. Are you serious? Are you really serious? Like, this is, I mean, I'm sorry, since we're on there, I mean, Netanyahu, he doesn't even know how to kiss his ass already, to the point where he's giving him the Israel Award. He came into him and said, you know what? You deserve the Nobel Peace Prize. But since you can't get the Nobel Peace Prize, we're going to give you the Israel Award.
Everything. They'll give him everything.
Hey, dude, that was the funniest moment from yesterday. He walks into the state, goes, Donald, you stopped 8 wars. He goes, I did.
Yeah.
He goes, we're giving you this new award that we just came up with. It's called the Israel Peace Award. And by the way, you can add it to your collection of peace awards like the other fake award that you got from FIFA, and it can go on your peace shelf.
I mean, just think about that. Like,
I think about Mandela, Gandhi, Trump. I mean, it makes complete sense. Those three, absolute peacemakers. I see it.
Mandela, Gandhi, Trump. I mean, they're synonymous, right? Like, when you think of like world-beating, life-changing, peacemaking fucking people that sacrifice their lives for the greater good, Trump comes right. It's right there.
obvious. It's obvious he deserves to be in that group of people. There's no 8 wars, by the way. Just everyone knows that already. But can I just point something out that's happened in the last?
Before
few
you
weeks
do that, can I just
Yeah.
point to what happened at the dinner table yesterday when he was sitting across from Netanyahu, caught on
The
a hot mic?
I didn't see that.
Oh yeah.
Dude, one of the great ones, hey, Lev, where he's like, "Can you believe it? I stopped 8 wars and no one's giving me any awards." And he's like, Netanyahu's like, "No, I can't believe it." And he's like, "I know, right? Like you can't believe it. I can't believe it."
And
He goes,
then he realized, he goes, "Oh, I'll tell you in a second. What do you guys want to eat?"
No, you're putting, asking for the Peace Prize. He's
Right
asking
away,
for
he
it.
turns around. He goes, "I got good lunch for you. What do you guys want to eat? Did you like my lunch? Mar-a-Lago, you like feed them." I like the way, like a mobster. I remember sitting in Little Italy at one of my Italian uncles back when I was 19, 20 years old, and he would sit there like this, and some guys would come to the table, we'd sit down, and they would come with other guys, and he'd say, "You sit down, feed those guys, go feed the drivers, go feed." That's what I felt like Trump yesterday. "You guys, we're gonna eat here. You guys, go feed them over there. Go feed them. So you guys want to eat? Answer me, yes or no? Yes or no? Yes. Okay, go feed them. Go feed them."
go eat. And then the best part of that whole thing, he was like, it could be considered a bribe in some countries, but it's only a $25 lunch, so it's not really a bribe. But I'm sure some of you people will say it's a bribe. Anyway, let's go eat lunch. And everybody's like, "Let's go eat lunch."
It was the best lunch.
The best lunch.
$25.
The
The
best
greatest
It's a fucking
lunch ever.
steak sandwich.
No, it's a burger. I've eaten that burger. It's called the presidential burger.
Oh,
I've
yeah?
eaten that. I have
25
pictures
bucks?
of it. No, I didn't pay for it, but
Yeah,
I have pictures.
that's what it
of
costs.
I mean,
I fucking find it hard to believe that he didn't try and make you ante up $25 for a burger.
It's interesting. I'm the old, I even have, since you reminded me, I'm going to share with you that I got an invitation to Mar-a-Lago to be a member for free.
Oh, wow.
I even have the paperwork. I'll show it with you guys.
He doesn't give anything away for free, so that's pretty good.
No, to certain people, they're like, there's.
Is this before he put you in jail?
Before he put me in jail. Well, actually, he never put me. It's the crazy part, it's still so ironic that he never wanted me. He wanted me out there doing my thing, and it was Bill Barr that started the whole thing. That's why till this day it's so ironic.
Dude, maybe the golf membership was like a sorry about that.
Can't wait for the reunion show with you and Trump down the line. That's gonna be a good
Like that scene from you and Hunter at the end of the dock.
I
You're
can't
gonna
wait.
say-
I swear to you, one of the things as part of my mission, and those of you that know that my GoFundMe that I set up for it to go is I'm going, part of 2026, I'm going to confront Trump. We're going to be face to face at one point somewhere where he's going to have to say, I'm going to have to say, "Do you remember me? Now, do you remember me?" I am gonna. Believe me, and not only him, but I gotta show you this picture.
You're gonna bring some receipts with you there, Lev?
Jacob, you haven't been part of one of these shows where Lev brings his personal phone out and goes, "Get a load of this picture."
Yeah, I'm doing a widescreen here. Give me a second, because Lev's always got some good things on his phone there.
Yeah.
This is one that you guys don't know about, but it is another close one to me. That, hold on a second, hold on. We have a lot of years. We gotta go to.
Oh, you got the wide angle now.
Yeah, well,
Lev.
I mean,
you're fucking important.
Oh, look at you. Oh, wow. I feel important. I feel.
Jacob's got his nose right against the screen too. He's like, "What kind of intel can I get for Denmark?"
No, it's not that crazy. Wait, hold on. All right, wait a second. Where is this? Wait, March. Okay, we're getting 2018. We gotta get.
Oh my gosh, if I could get access to that phone.
The best part of this is watching Lev find it.
I would see that. Oh, did you ever see this one? This is when you welcome to the White House. There's a payphone that says "Welcome to." Did you see this one?
Yeah. Got
I
it.
didn't see that properly. Put it there, right in front of the camera.
There you go.
There
It's a
you
payphone.
go.
It's a payphone. It says White House on it. It's right when you enter the what's it called? The special entrance. Hold on a second.
I've been to that entrance a couple of times.
I gotta show you this.
Oh, look at you, hey? Look at you, big dick and us that haven't been there.
Hey, I was dropped off on the wrong side. I'll tell you that story another time.
What do you got? Who's that?
This is Pam Bondi.
You and Pam Bondi. Back when you were
me and
friends.
Pam.
When she was,
Hey, was she the village idiot back then as well, or is it only been since?
She was like, hold on.
she was the AG of Florida, right, back then, and also funded by Giuliani and Trump at a at an
in
event.
Qatar. Yeah.
And that shit, the Qatar
Yeah.
connection. That's
But every
right.
time she opens her mouth, I keep thinking to
Saudi.
myself,
By
did
the
she
way,
not have a
this is
good
just
sleep
so
last night?
this is Giuliani when he was godfather to my little one.
Oh my gosh.
He even put a cupola on. You see,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
He's the godfather of your little one. Wow.
Did he have that
to
makeup
Nathan.
on that was dribbling down his face as well? Or- I remember that scene.
It's the hair dye.
Did you
I think.
did you have the
Hair
did you
dye,
have the
yeah, that was
confirmation
hair
at
dye.
Four Seasons Landscaping?
So Don, this is Don Jr. sent me this for one of the holidays.
From the Greenland holiday?
Oh yeah,
One
that's
of the
it. That was
holidays.
Eric.
He
and then-
he sent me this
Oh,
as
that was a
part
whole
of the
video. It's
family.
montage.
Yeah, he sent me a montage, part of the family, like like.
Oh, that's very nice.
Oh,
of
yeah,
him to
yeah,
do.
yeah, yeah.
You really wrote
Yeah.
to Eric.
I'll show you some.
I remember some of
You
those
can wear
photos when I was
the
investigating you.
shit out of a tie there, Lev. You look great in a suit, dude. I only see you in t-shirts.
They're available,
Really
by
good.
the way.
This
The
is-
Lev Remember
this-
T-shirts are available at the merch store
Yeah,
at the Lev Remembers.
this is a classical one. This is me and Rudy with our fraud guarantee hats on.
The fraud guarantee. Honestly, I got to ask you, who came up with that name?
I
And
did,
was
I
it
did.
was it intentionally
No,
that name?
I
or
swear
was-
to you, I wanted to come up with a name that had against fraud, but everything was taken. So
Yeah.
I figured more controversial it is because it was really an insurance policy against fraud.
Yeah,
Uh,
that went down for
Oh.
fraud.
they were not for fraud.
I mean,
This is a picture that's going to go down.
Guaranteed.
This is the original Venezuela crew.
oh, wow.
Okay.
You see, there's some.
Yeah,
When you
yeah,
say
yeah.
it's the Venezuela crew, what does that mean?
Those are the people that went down to get
originally-
Maduro out of office the first time, if
Oh,
I'm
I
not
didn't realize
mistaken.
that happened. the first time.
This is
Yeah.
a guy Maduro calls his nephew. This is the guy right now. He's a billionaire, Trump supporter.
And he lives here. He's an American. He's
Oh,
an
you wanna
American,
see
the guy.
Yeah. You want to see Joe Piscopo and Rudy sing?
Sure. Sure. Do we ever?
There you go. There's Joe Piscopo and Rudy Giuliani singing on a boat. Rudy with a drink in his hand. That's weird.
He's always on the drink. He's making a
And the
speech
hair
now.
dye.
I have my headphones on. You
And
can't
the
hear
hair
the
dye.
screen.
Jacob is obsessed with a hair dye. Can we just?
This is Rudy's assistant.
Oh yes.
This is partner. They do a show together.
Oh, what's her name again? I remember her. She was
Maria Ryan.
she's
Aren't
the one
they
that's
doing
involved
it?
in that other story, that FBI story?
This is the meeting we had for Maduro. This is Maduro's people that with Trump when we in the first administration.
Wait, you tried to do this in the first administration? I didn't know about this, but I don't think.
Oh,
I
yeah.
did.
We didn't try to.
They
We
did
did. We actually have a contract for 2 billion barrels of oil. The only thing, if Bolton didn't start the invasion with Guaido, Maduro would probably have been out, and it was already done. I mean, it was.
Yeah, you got a free house in Texas. You get like season tickets to the Cowboys. Nowhere to lie.
Oh,
Yeah.
this was a classic. This is when we moved the embassy
Sure,
to
what was that?
Israel. Me and Huckabee, and
You were there
now
at the
he's-
time for that
Yeah,
thing?
of course. I was everywhere. They called me
I was
Zealot.
moved to Jerusalem.
Yeah, Rudy used to call me the Zealot, because I was like everywhere. Hold on a
So,
second.
that move to Jerusalem, that embassy was obviously inspired by the very generous donations of the what are they called? I forget their names now, from the casino, the Sands Casino guys. Who
Adelson?
also, yeah, the Adelsons, right?
Adelson, yeah.
Was that what it was, or was Jared also a big piece of that? What was the driving force behind that, or both?
No, Adelson was the biggest driving piece. I mean, Jared is just, and behind Jared, it's not even Jared so much. It's Ivanka that's running that show behind there. That's
Yeah, the last time we had Lev on, we were doing coffee and tea. Lev told me that Jared is Ivanka's coffee boy.
I can see it.
So this is one of the major players, and he's a Nigerian billionaire that is one of the major players in Venezuela. I'm gonna go with all these names. Believe me, I'm gonna.
There's a
bring
lot of
all these
oil
names.
in these.
When this comes up, yeah. Oh, believe me. Oh, this is a classic picture. So this is one I'm gonna show you. So this is when Pete Sessions gave me the letter. See, he signs it. Pete Sessions. It's the letter he wanted me to hand over to Trump.
Yeah.
And here you see me, actually it's me and Aaron. Aaron was shitting bricks. I go, Aaron, just stand still, and then You see me giving it the letter.
I know that letter really well. I
See,
wrote
but
about that letter.
look at Trump taking it and putting it in
Yeah.
his pocket right there.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh wow. Oh
Right
wow.
there. Right there. That's the letter that to get rid of the U.S. ambassador.
That is that letter that
That's when I
asked.
gave. That's when I gave him the
And
letter.
and you were also funding sessions or through fraud guarantees.
Yeah,
That's what you put out for, right? The
yeah. Because
funding.
we gave him $2,500 by accident on the same credit card.
I
That's when I
remember
went to
calling Pete
prison.
Sessions and asking him about this, and he put down the phone on me very quickly. Um,
Well, he was.
Ding.
I just want you to understand how close Pete Sessions was to me.
Yeah.
He gave me his jersey that nobody's allowed to touch to wear to the game against
Oh,
the
wow.
Republicans, Democrats All-Star game at the nobody like literally he used to call me chairman. He called me chairman. That was my nickname. Pete Sessions would call me.
What's Pete Sessions' relationship that's very famous to the FBI? Is it the FBI or is it was his
Yeah,
father?
his father was the head of
The FBI
oh this
director.
yeah, this is never before seen. This is what when Rick Scott gets a little bigger, we're gonna blow Rick Scott up. This is a private, he doesn't even know it's being taped right now. You don't hear the volume, but
Yeah.
it's an interesting conversation happening with some
What's going on
donors.
there? What's going on?
Boy.
I'll keep it for the right moment.
That's
For-
amazing.
He does this all the time.
You don't need to know everything right
How
now.
many-
He goes,
Just
get a
say-
load of these guys doing something illegal. And then I'm like, what happened there? He's like, I can't tell you. I can't.
The receipts I got, just some things I'm holding on to. Wow. Those incredible memories, Lev.
Oh my God, dude! You don't even understand. Like this phone, here's me and Pete,
Sneaky Pete.
Oh, this
you,
yeah, this is an issue. This is where we're dividing Ukraine. I mean, not Ukraine, Venezuela. This is we're going over the charts in Venezuela in his office.
Dividing it
we're
in
going
what
over-
way? Dividing it as into
Oil.
Oil.
black gold, brother.
Yeah. Exxon
Black
gets
gold.
this. BP gets that. My friends get this.
It wasn't accent gets nothing. It was others.
Is this what's going on right now? Is that the conversation that's happening right now with all these players?
Yeah, it's the
Wow.
same player. It's the same.
If you'd watched Coffee and Tea with Lev and Dean a little more often, you might know all of
I
this.
catch it every week, but I
This
miss
is the first time. This is the first time Trump met with the Ukrainians. I introduced him in Mar-a-Lago. This is in 2017, when he was just president-elect. This standing right next to him, right? This is Trump, and right here is Roman Nasirov. He was the taxation minister. What's his name?
who's
Sent
government.
him in. Taxation. He went to prison afterwards for fraud. Oh, this is an interesting one. This guy is Mubaris Mansimov. This is Erdogan. I introduced Trump to Erdogan. So this guy is a billionaire from Azerbaijan that, what's his name? Erdogan put in prison during the, you know who he is.
Oh yeah, I remember
Mubaris
that.
Mansimov.
I remember that.
So I brought him to the inauguration. This is at the inauguration of Trump. Secret Service wouldn't let him even in there, but we got him in there, and he's standing 2 feet away from Trump. And this guy would this is how crazy it is. For the right amount of money, anybody could do anything there. There was I'm going to show you a picture of Russian. Oh, I'm going to show you this one at the inauguration of Russian. Oh, this is interesting. Okay. So I'm going to show you. So this is a this is a Turkish what's it called, mobster with Melania at the inauguration that came with Mubaris Mansimov.
I mean, these people would never have been allowed in any previous administrations, or at least they would have been kept quite far away.
This is me and Jarrett at the inauguration.
Oh wow!
I'll show you
Was
some
Wendy
stuff.
Chang? Was Wendy Chang there with them at the time? At the inauguration? Because she came with them to the. Did you see her with them?
This is the Ukrainian taxation minister at the inauguration.
Wow.
So,
so many.
I got a question for you then.
Go ahead.
Did he make people pay to go to his inauguration, the first one? 2016,
Of course.
2017?
Of course.
How much did it cost the guy from Turkey?
Well, the crazy part is all of these guys. That's why I write in my book is they didn't have to pay to inauguration because Brian Ballard, who runs, where Susie Wiles comes from, where Pam Bondi, Ballard, and I because me and him had a partnership. These were all his clients. I gave him all the contracts, so they were all he was their lobbyist. So I gave basically I had $1 million package for free, and they all had $250,000 packages. We got them basically to get in there. So there were 250,000, 500,000, and $1 million package, depending on what the events and where you would be sitting. What's it called?
I think that is maybe one of the greatest stories you've ever told, and just told it.
Yeah.
Right. Well, we had different pricing tiers for access to Donald Trump. We had 1 million, 500,
Well,
250, 250, you get a handshake, 500, you get a hug, 1 million, you get to go in the janitor's closet. Like that's fucking bizarre. It's
Look how
clearly
crazy.
illegal.
And to get them
Well,
in there,
I don't know if it is.
they all had to
Yeah.
send me their passports. Like, look, I
Oh,
literally
wow.
have all of these guys' passports. I have all of their like you
Not
know.
that it mattered
you
because there
understand.
wasn't security
You
clearance
understand.
process anyhow.
Why
it
don't we
seems
open up
like-
some bank accounts with those bad boys?
Dude, you have no idea. Like, I look at my phone sometimes, and I just don't, and I say to myself, "Holy shit!"
Okay,
Like,
Jacob, I got a question for you while
Yeah.
while Lev's rifling through these pictures. As a former UN Security Council member and Danish intelligence expert and Danish intelligence member, your thoughts?
Where do I start? Where do I start? Well, the sad thing is, when you've followed this a little bit, and as you know, I've been writing a book about some of these things. It doesn't even surprise me.
Yeah.
It doesn't even surprise me. It's just, that's just the nature of the beast.
Oh,
And
since you said that, I'm sorry, Jacob. You said beast, right into a story. So I'm going to show you one little. This was classical. So one day, we get a call, and Trump's like, "I'm going to pick you up on the beast, and we're going to Mar-a-Lago." This was like the
Oh,
whole
yeah.
thing. We had a whole meeting. So I'm going to show you. So this is the beast. Oh,
Yeah, there you go.
this is the
Yeah.
beast.
Yeah.
You see the beast, and then we're going.
Yeah.
Let me see. Oh, the other way. The other way. Okay. Here we go.
East. You lost your audio there, but I think you're just getting a call, so hopefully it'll come back in a second. I don't think we can hear you. We can't hear you now.
No.
Lev, we can't hear you.
But
Yeah,
I'll speak, and I'll say I don't think Putin
jump
had
out and
to
come back in.
pay to get that ride in the
You
beast
didn't have
in
to pay for the
Anchorage.
ride.
In Anchorage. I think Putin got the ride for free.
I suspect he got the ride for free too. I
That's
mean,
my
I can't
analysis.
imagine he'd have to pay. He probably owns the beast now, doesn't he? So I'm just trying to find just fix this a little bit here. I wasn't expecting that to jump out. There you go. There we are. We're back. That is remarkable. When I see those pictures, I mean, I investigated Lev Parnas for a good year, and the stories that he's referencing there are all part of that investigation. And it's so interesting to see him, sort of joking about these things.
He's back.
Yeah, I'm just trying to put him in here. It was at the time, it was like, oh my God, this is a crisis that we're all having. And now look at him just sharing all this detail with everybody. It's phenomenal. Let me just, I can't do this. Hang on. Let me.
Jacob's still laughing. He's seen some shit. Like that's the thing about Jacob.
And I've not watched all of your coffee and tea shows. I've watched a couple, and it just cracks me up.
What's that? What's that?
Okay. So this is a meeting we had. You could see where I was sitting, just so you understand.
That's Brian
person that
Ballard, who
doesn't-
was, and then you are
Right.
where? Right there behind. Okay, so right across the way there, Lev Parnas.
Right next to Trump. You see?
Right
Me,
next to Trump.
Next to Trump, right? And then Ballard across from us.
Wow.
And then, so we had this, it's a tape. Nobody's ever seen this before. It's my partner did this also. It's a videotape of actually a meeting that we had in Mar-a-Lago.
And that's
It's
Igor
a 30
Fruman that you're talking about
Yeah,
there.
yeah. It's
Yeah,
30.
there you go. Hold it there.
Yeah, 30, 40, whatever.
I cannot believe between how many videos and pictures you have out of Mar-a-Lago,
let me tell you the funny part. So the
how
people, so
easy it
there
is
were,
to record
so
shit in there.
there was two females at this dinner. It was a lunch. Pete Sessions, two bankers, and two females. They were talking. Trump was so giddy with these females that after we got done with dinner, Secret Service was cracking up because he all of a sudden came up to me and smacked me in the back and says, "Get out your iPhone and start taking some pictures." And here we go. Watch this. This is Trump. This is Trump with the female, and me taking
That's the other
pictures
way.
of him. Hold on, the other way.
Yeah. Who is she? She's just
There was two.
two of them.
There was two of them there. And then he made me give him the pictures of them.
For his spank bank.
I mean, what is that? It's spank bank.
Trump has
This
a
is
spank bank,
notorious,
dude.
though. That's what he's notorious for, right? Isn't that what he did like all these
Still
years?
a dog. Like you would have thought that he would have left that behind, but he's still a dog, right? Like he's always going to be a dog. Always.
He's always. That's why I'm saying to you. That's why I mean, the Epstein files is his kryptonite, and that's going to really, really take him down.
It hasn't yet.
But
I'm surprised by you.
you,
Go
you
ahead.
know what? With all this, from an intelligence perspective, this is and Putin is a former intelligence officer,
Yeah.
and intelligence officers look for weaknesses, and you know Trump and his administration and the way they're running it. It's just such an easy pick. And this is what all this stuff shows, that they make all these schoolboy errors that makes it so easy for Putin to really put pressure on Trump, and they're so compromised. And another example of that, actually, that's so telling, was when they tried to redact the Epstein files,
Mm.
and it turned out that it was done so amateurishly that everyone could see what was
Yeah.
was what
Well,
was
you know what they
behind
didn't
it.
do? They
And it's
didn't. They
just
didn't pay their Adobe
eh,
bill.
Is that, is that what's
yeah,
saying?
exactly. And it's
But
just
you could suddenly see all the redacted parts. I mean, it is so amateurish. It is so ridiculous. But this is who rules the world right now.
Yeah, but Jacob,
Yeah.
to your point, he is the perfect mark. Money, girls,
yeah,
and he's a compulsive fucking liar.
Yeah.
yeah, money,
And
girls,
he's got 40
ego,
years. Yeah, yeah,
etc.
We
yeah.
interviewed Yuri Shvets, who was the former KGB guy in Washington, and he said this was the easiest mark possible. I mean, it was like vanity.
Yeah,
What's it? Mice, right? It's money. I don't know what the I stands for, but then it's
Influence.
influence. C, but it's compromised corruption, but then there's
Corruption.
ego
yeah,
at the end of it, and his ego is so easily manipulated by any woman that they throw at him. The money's
yeah.
easy for him. He's got no integrity. There's no like eyes ideology. He doesn't really have an
Look,
ideology, so that's easy. And you just way back in the 80s, they realized they started following him around. In
Mhm.
83, in 1983, they started following Trump around and
No,
saying, if you
77.
77 was
so
yes,
I was gonna say 77. It's even early. I didn't know 77
Yeah,
because look, it's not
eh,
about ideology. It's not because
yeah.
he's a narcissist. He's a criminal.
mhm,
And when
Mm.
you're a criminal, that means you have things to hide, and that means you will always be able to be on the. That's why foreign officers, and Jacob will tell you, they look to be able. That's what they have. And Trump was always a criminal.
yeah,
Trump was always even when he left his dad. Whose hands did he go into? Roy
Mhm.
Cohen
mhm,
started dealing with the Italian mob. Started building buildings. I mean, he's never done made an honest dollar in his life. It's always been around. Lying, stealing, manipulating. So the compromise that the Russians have in him. What I'm saying to you is, forget about what they have in him and over the 40 years. What I'm saying to you guys is, they currently have, and then just not with Trump, with others in the Trump circle, because people like Trump back in the 90s, there was a fad about getting young Eastern European mistresses, young Eastern European wives, girlfriends, and a bunch of them are still with them for the past 20, 30 years, and a bunch of them are still working for the KGB or the FSB, whatever you want to call it, and other agencies. You're just not seeing it until you see the Maria Bertanovas or others once they get caught. But there is so many during that time period that were sent in here, during, a lot of them were sex trafficked, but a lot of them were also sent in here through that, to be able to become these honeypots. And that's another thing. Just think about, without, and, I'm not trying to insult Melania, but just think about, it's facts are facts. I mean, she herself, her story is, how did she come to the United States? Through Europe, trying to be a model, 14 years old, that world, that time, we all know, what those girls went through in that modeling agency. And at the end of the day, you might like Michael Wolff, you might not like him, you might agree, not agree, but at the end of the day, he did report, he did write on it, that, and he said it, and, that Donald Trump met Melania through Epstein. And I, truly believe that it was through that environment at one of those parties, or somehow, playing, whatever the case is. So a lot of, it's not one thing with these Epstein files. These Epstein files for Donald Trump, it uncovers basically his whole, sometimes you say you got to fake it till you make it. It uncovers Donald Trump's whole universe of, Melania is not that perfect first lady. He's not that perfect president. He, is not, Putin has something on him, and he's not that strong man, and what he says. It uncovers his whole, it pops his balloon, basically.
It takes away that whole mask that he has in the world. But what you're pointing out is so interesting, because they have influence over every piece of him. They own him. They own the money. They own his wife. They own his children. They own all the businesses. And this is now, he is entirely a property of Vladimir Putin's and the Kremlin's. And so they can get him to do almost anything, and they are. And one of the things that I want to speak about, just before we think about, it's already 5 o'clock, we should wrap up. But
Yeah.
I want to talk about cryptocurrency a little bit, and just, there is something happening in the repo market right now that is frightening me, because they have, just in the last 10 days, maybe a little longer, since December 10th, they've removed all the limits on overnight repo operations. That might sound very technical, but it's basically, this is the Fed's ability to loan money to all these banks. It used to be a $500 billion limit on this thing, and now they basically took all the limits off, and they're saying, we'll loan you whatever you need. There's a per bank limit of $50 billion or something a day. But we are looking at, billions and billions and billions of dollars being siphoned out of the treasury right now in a way that looks a lot to me like 2008. I'm not an economist. I don't pretend to be one. But it looks to me like we're heading into one of these situations where the economy is at real risk of crashing. The stock market is at a huge high. These repo rates are so important, because if they are basically allowing these over-leveraged banks to loan as much money from the Fed as they want, which is what they're doing, we're facing a potential massive crisis coming up ahead economically. And that leads us into cryptocurrency and a whole bunch of other things. We probably don't have enough time to talk about it, but I wouldn't mind having your thoughts on some of that, if you guys have any ideas about where we're heading economically.
Just quickly to touch, because I think we could do in the beginning of the year, we could do a whole show about this and talk about it, but quickly, because but
only if you
just
promise to show us more pictures at the end.
Oh, I got so many, and I'm ready for. But I'll tell you, definitely, what you just said is, again, a piece of lots of different things that are going to make this economy. The economy is in a major dumpster fire, if you want to call it, between the tariffs. Again, you gotta understand, we are boxed in. It doesn't matter which way the Supreme Court rules, we are going to have a bad economy, because either we have to give back the money, or Trump's going to go tariff everybody. We're going to end up paying higher prices. So the economy is in the market 100%, like you said, is inflated. People think their 401ks, everything, they don't realize that all could disappear overnight, literally, like within minutes. That just like all those months and years of going up could just crash, disappear. That's how, and people like Lutnick, who are professionals and that are behind Trump, are the ones that keeping the market inflated and up, because they're the ones, the professionals, because they think that if the market keeps going up, the people don't realize that the economy, is on. And that's the whole lie that they're showing you. They're like, well, the market's up. Well, what do you mean? We're having the best time. But they're not realizing people can't afford prices. Gas is still not $2. I don't know where he said $2 of gas is, but whatever. So yes, I think one of the main issues, and that he has also, and that we're going to have as Americans, that we need to look forward to and we need to prepare, is we're definitely in recession, whatever you want to call it, but we're going to go through some things when it comes to 2026 and getting out of the hole, because of all the things that Trump did.
Well, and let's be serious here. Wall Street's being held together by 10 different tech companies. Donald Trump is in bed with, right? So, that bubble breaks, even if
there's
that
crypto.
double.
There's always
Yeah.
crypto. We can go to crypto, and then they'll be able to replace
Yeah.
the US dollar with crypto. Everything's going to be okay, Dean.
Boys,
Don't
I'm
worry
going to
about
start
it.
sending you guys payment in crypto so we can do criminal things.
Let's do
No,
our
but
let's do before we go. Each one of us says what we're going to do for next year.
Okay, let Jacob.
Yeah,
Jacob wanted to kind of pump in here real quick
yeah.
at the
Go
end of
ahead.
that, and then we'll get to our well wishes. Go ahead, Jacob.
Resolutions.
what was it? What we're going to do?
Yeah, the resolutions, I guess.
Resolutions. Yeah, we'll do a resolution.
The resolution is to do much more of this and get these voices, these truth tellers like you, much more out. Also on the waves here in Denmark, and make sure that people understand what's really going on, and really get all that manipulation, what's going on in the media, out of there in a much stronger way, because that's threatening all of us. So I'll be working night and day to do that, and to make sure that that people understand what's really going on.
Thank you, Jacob. And my vow and my resolution to each and every one of you out there, to our subscribers, to our family, is basically just like Jacob said, is to unite. One thing is we need to unite all our voices and be able to go out there and to stop this authoritarianism that we're going. And I promise you to be a leader in that, to be out there making sure speaking truth to power. I promise you I'll do everything in my power as somebody that came in there and was part of making MAGA. I will be out there making sure we take it apart piece by piece. I also promise you more than anything that we will be that voice for those kids that were taken away and abducted by the Russians, and me speaking by every day, no matter about what peace talks or fake ideas they talk about. Those kids, we will make sure that Love Remembers, Voice of Ukraine, and our platforms here will make sure that we will never forget them, and always make sure we bring them home. And last but not least, I promise you and I vow to you that we will use our voices, whatever we can, to make sure that the Epstein survivors get their justice, that the Epstein survivors will get peace, and that the people will be held accountable, what if it's the last thing we do. So this year we have a big year, so join us to make sure that we together we will get this done.
Thanks, buddy. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Zeph?
My mission has always been the same. It's always about truth and about uncovering the truth, and I continue with that. And I just think what we've been building here on Substack, it can be grown so much more. My hope is to make this into a 24/7 news channel, or at least an opinion news channel, an analysis news channel, where we can continually give people exactly what's going on in real time, because the state media, which is really what's happened to American corporate media, is now run by the state.
Yeah.
You can see that in what's happening with CBS and 60 Minutes. There is not an independent voice out there for Americans to find the truth and to get the truth. And my goal with narrative, or whatever we land up calling it, I think is just to keep this going, to keep these voices and amplify these voices, grow more voices, and make sure that it gets into as many American minds and ears and eyes as we can, because the future is going to be an information war. It's not going to be about the military might. It's going to be about who wins the hearts and minds of Americans in the world. And I think the only way we can do that is through some sort of independent media company that we are able to serve the people with the truth.
Well said. Good ones. Hard to follow. I should just say same.
Well,
Same
we're
as
the
you guys.
thing. We do all this.
No, but truth is that we all kind of are talking about the same things in our own dialect, in our own spaces. Listen, I joined Substack, I think almost the same time Lev did, like March, April.
April, I think, yeah.
April, yeah, me too. Yeah. End of March, beginning of April. And I've seen some shit here over the past, 10 months, 9-10 months. The thing that I've seen that has encouraged me the most, and I wrote about it a little bit today, which I will continue to be relentless doing, is how, just a few people, just a few guys, right? Just a few guys that have a space and a little bit of a platform and some understanding, coming together and finding you, all of you, that have supported us, that haven't just supported our content by sharing it, but little comments when you support us by saying, I didn't know that. Thank you so much for being here. I mentioned it earlier. I don't feel so alone. So in 2026, my goal is to continue to unite other people with my friends. My goal is to unite other people against fascism. My goal is to unite people under real values, democratic values, empathy, love, kindness, courage, wisdom, temperance, justice. Those are the most important values to me, and they will continue to be the most important values to me, and that will continue to come out here, and we will continue, hopefully, to stay in your lives as you continue to hopefully stay in our lives. And my dream, if I could just kind of insert a dream into this, because we're not going to go anywhere. We're going to be doing this for at least for the next 3 years. My dream is that
continuously.
yeah. I was like, ooh, what if he gets out of the midterm? No, there's other assholes out there. Is that we build something that cannot be taken away from you, cannot be taken away from democracy, cannot be taken away from the people who see the greater good for what it is, which is good character and acts for the common good. For Americans, for Canadians, for the Danish people, for my Ukrainian friends, for every country that has had to eat someone else's country shit. The attack and the assault we see on democracy here in Canada, around the world, the threats to each individual country. We all see you. We all see you. You see us. So my goal this year is to bring us all together, to do it with my friends, and to be relentless at it. And I want to thank everybody for joining us this year, for allowing people like Jacob, Lev, Zev, all of us into your lives. You know, you've changed our lives. And we just hope that we get to help affirm and inform you and be part of your lives on a daily basis. And the support you've given us continues to go into aspects of the work that we do in ways that I never thought I would be buoyed by in my professional life. This is the greatest honor of my life. And I mean that professionally. And I've done some shit. All of us have. But thank you.
Thank
Merry
you.
Christmas. Happy New Year. I love everybody on this fucking Substack Live. God, this was fun to do today. Thanks, boys.
Really
Love you
amazing,
guys.
real honor and a privilege. Thanks, gentlemen.
Thank
That
you,
is the
guys.
FiveStack,
Happy
the
New
final
Year
one
to
for the
all of
year.
you.
Have a
Happy
good
New
one.
Year.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year, everyone.
See you in a couple days, boys.
See ya.